welcome back.
How's it going, everybody?
So Outlier, we'll say 8. Every time we say this, it's the wrong number.
Yeah, right. Always forget what number we're on.
And apologize for the delay on the new episode. It's been almost 2 weeks since the last one. But we're working on a lot of things in the background, stuff we can't talk about. But a lot of moving parts, and there's only 2 of us.
Yep.
So, sorry. We'll get better. And you probably saw a new intro. We're getting feedback about the podcast, some good things, a lot of good things, and then some like critiques, which I love.
Yeah, we just want to make this as good as possible. We don't have an ego. We don't.
No.
We just want to make it good.
We're all growing together, you know. And so with that said, we're still going to do a little bit of what we always have been. And this is going to evolve. Probably each episode is going to have a little different segment, quote unquote, or whatever. But we're going to still talk about interest rates because that's still an ongoing thing. And then maybe a little bit more into that and like affordability. But off of that, we had an idea to look at like the most unique homes for sale in Michigan and found this pretty awesome estate, let's call it, that we're going to kind of go through, talk about, riff about, and then probably shouldn't be too long today.
Yeah, just a quick one. Let me get this pulled up here. Give me 1 second.
So today is February 27th, 2024. So we're just on the cusp of the spring market here in Michigan. And if you guys have been watching our last episode, we talked about interest rates a lot in depth in terms of like the landscape and how things are looking, assumingly, going forward into this year and into next. And all this info we're getting from Jerome Powell and the Fed.
And the basis of it is as interest rates drop, home prices are going to go up and vice versa. As interest rates rise, you're going to have homes sit longer. So you're going to therefore have to drop price to go into these lower price ranges because the interest rate is going to make the payment so different, right? So you're going to get, and we were talking about the squeeze of the people that are basically above 300 something thousand. They're squeezed down to 250 and below. And then also the people who were 200, 250, they're getting squeezed really below 200. So there's kind of this weird compression of people who've been sitting on the sidelines for a couple of years, saving up a bunch of cash, and the people in the 300 to 350, 400 range, they're all going to meet in the middle around that 250-ish mark. So as rates go up, then you're going to create that bigger divide. That squeeze is going to happen, and prices are going to drop.
Yeah, it's like a teeter-totter, right? Interest rates, price. So, perfect summary there. But since then, inflation numbers came out for January, which were higher than they were anticipating. And so with that, the market reacted and interest rates shot up again. And so like part of the last episode was Jerome Powell came out and said, hey, we're not going to raise rates in March, but it's looking like we probably will come May, June, and onward. But that seems to have even changed further now. The way things are looking. So this is today. This is from CNN. So at the time of our last episode, which is about 2 weeks ago, the average interest rate was even under 6.5%. And our whole point to that was like, hey, if these interest rates drop, like Jerome is saying, from this point, it's going to get crazy, like you were just talking about. 2 weeks later, we're at 7.5. This is today. A whole percentage point, 100 basis points, just like that. So, not to say that like the inventory's gotten any better because it hasn't. I wish I would have saved this graph earlier. Do you know? Well, you won't know. Nobody will know. But we've had the least amount of sales in January of 2024 in Michigan, mind you, since 1993 or something like that. Like it's
30 years.
A long time.
Wow.
Don't quote me on the exact. I know for sure it's the lowest in a long time. Why is that?
Well, inflation. People are over the last 2 years getting squeezed out in terms of their just spend every single day, every time they go to the grocery store, and it's 30% more expensive. there's that. Interest rates are high, right? Job market doesn't seem to be too fantastic. A lot of people are going back in office, and gas prices and things like that. The car market sucks, right? That's more expensive.
There's a lot of factors, right? On top of, like we talked about last week, you have people who did buy in COVID time and all that, and they have these super low interest rates, and they're holding on to these houses. So like you may never see them again on the market.
Yeah, I mean, if you bought a house for 3% interest rate, why would you sell?
And
Unless
that
you absolutely have to.
and that's just it. Is like, and that's a lot of the comments we even see on our posts and social media. Is like we had that reel going around of last week of like, hey, things are going to get crazy. So like, if you can afford to, probably buy sooner than later. I still kind of agree with that because they will drop at some point, and probably will a little bit this year. But I just don't think it's going to be close to what we were all thinking of. Like, hey, we're probably going to be under 6% by the end of this year. I'm just not feeling that. I think that's going to be a more so next year type of thing, assuming nothing crazy happens. We do have an election this year too, which typically doesn't affect it a whole lot. I mean,
we looked at the data. Yep, in my opinion, it's going to be spring of 25. That's when they're going to start really dropping it into the summer and things like that. I think this year it's going to stay pretty relative. Like we may drop a little bit to 6.5. We may go back up again to 7.5 or 8 or I don't know. I think it's going to kind of hover in this like 6.5 to 8 range.
It would be very not to. I'm tinfoil hat. Okay. What if they come out in March and let's say February numbers come out and they're worse in January for the inflation, because that's the main thing they're focusing on with the interest rate drop or movements. What if February comes out not good and they're like, hey, instead of not doing a change, which is what they've said they were going to do, of nothing, we're bumping these up like 0.25.
I mean, totally possible.
It is. It is possible. And I mean, it's already slower-ish right now because of these stuff, of lack of buyers and inventory, blah, blah, blah. But shoot, if we go back to like October of 23 and like 8%, dude, this is going to be a crappy summer for real estate. But we'll see. Nobody's got that crystal ball. A lot could happen.
Well, it's just, I think there's one interesting thing with like listings that people need to realize too. If you want to list your house, let's say you're above 300. Okay. First off, no house is perfect. Obviously, I want to preface it with that. But now, because of these interest rates and inflation and all this other stuff, right? In normal times, people that were buyers at 350,000, they could make some, in their head, some concessions. Okay, you know what? We'll fix that. We'll pay a little bit more for this, whatever it is. Now, though, if you're priced at 330, 350, you're competing with normal time buyers that are 400, 425. They're expecting that quality of 400, 425, 450. They're expecting a higher value home. And generally those people in those price ranges, they don't probably need to buy a house because they're higher income earners. They probably have lower debt. That's why they're approved for more, things like that, right? So for them, they're like, no, I'm not going to pay $350 for this. I'll give you $315.
No, you're absolutely right. And just to put a caveat, because I completely agree, the caveat is the area. So when we say 350, we're comparing it to Genesee County, in which your average is maybe 200-ish. Fenton's, there's some out there that is the going, but by and large, 90% of our county is not 300, 350. So what you're saying is that's like, if we had to tier buyers, that's like your second or third tier buyer for our county.
Yeah.
And with that said, I mean, we're seeing it in that the buyers, not to say it's a buyer's market, but they have a way more leverage than they did a year ago. And it's because of that, because these higher priced homes are sitting longer because, like you just said, it's a different type of buyer than somebody, let's say sub 200 is like, everybody's situation is different, but more than likely they're a first-time home buyer and it's more of a problem solve to get a house as opposed to these 354s. It's like, well, I'll just keep renting. Like, screw it,
I'd rather just wait for interest rates to get down to 4 or 5% and I can get a $450,000 house that's true to a $450,000 house, and my payment would be relatively the same as if I were to buy a $350,000 house right now.
It is, but again, to that point is like that 450 house, assuming these interest, let's say it does get to 4, that's not 450
That's
anymore.
475. That's
We're
500.
probably 550.
Yeah.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so things are weird. At the end of the day, our message doesn't change, and like just save your money, be smart.
Mm-hmm.
If buying a house is your goal, keep on that plan and sticking to saving. Even if right now might not be the best time, especially financially, like pull up these next ones. So we wanted to just show, just for perspective of monthly amounts. I use both, just for everybody's sake, use the same taxes for both of these things, same property insurance. The only thing that changed was the interest rate. Okay. So this first one is a $300,000 house, 10% down, interest rate of 7.5. That would be roughly your monthly of, let's say, $2,500 a month. Okay.
Mm-hmm. The other one.
Now the other one is same numbers, same everything, but 6.5. So let's say 2 weeks ago, 2,300.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not quite, but almost $200 a month in difference. It's fairly significant.
Yeah.
I mean, that's somebody's.
That's almost 10% of the mortgage. It's like 8%.
You're right.
Different.
And I think about like that's somebody's like monthly gas that month, or car insurance or something. I mean, that's a bill for sure.
Groceries for a week or two.
Yep.
Right.
So yeah, just food for thought, you know. And it's just going to be interesting to see. The Fed meets again in March. So we'll find out as you guys do.
We'll see. So on to interesting home in Michigan.
So I wanted to shout out this agent real quick. Her name is, let me pull it up on mine, Mary B. Nonman. She's with 5 Star Real Estate, my last company that I worked for. Great company to work for. I'm not going to say anything bad about them, never would. But she's got a awesome listing, and let's talk about it.
In Penfield Township, 5-bed, 9-bath, 6 full, 3 half baths, 8,300 square feet.
It's built in 2018. And look at that size area. Look at the acres there.
193.7 acres.
Boom.
And wooded.
Over $10 million has been spent in the development of this property. And how much are they asking for it?
$5 million. 4.9.
That's a damn good deal.
Well, especially once we look at it and see it, it's like, remember when you first showed me, I was like 10 million.
Mm-hmm.
And
you were right.
And it was like, yeah, that's pretty spot on. But it's like going for half off right now, if not more.
Well, and this happens a lot with these super luxury custom builds. Is just that, it's custom. So it's like the person who built this house made it so they want everything how they like it. But at $10 million, you better hope you have a clone out there who likes exactly what you like, and you know.
Well, especially with this one, there's some stuff that make it interesting that not everybody's looking for that, even though I think they should. But for $5 million, $10 million, yeah. So let's take a look at a couple.
Yeah. So this is out in Battle Creek area, just for perspective for folks. Yeah, see if you can zoom in a little bit here. Right on. Gorgeous. 3-decker.
Beautiful yard. Everything's fantastic.
4-car garage.
Nice fountain. Beautiful white interior.
Awesome entryway.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that. Like the hardwood.
It's beautiful, right?
It's gorgeous.
Beautiful office. Little like
copper
tea room or
ceilings.
whatever. So let's kind of just
keep going.
Kitchen. Let's look at this real quick, but
we're just kind of in awe with you guys right now.
Mm-hmm. But there's some cool stuff that we'll get into in a bit.
Great living room, fireplace, mud room. This looks like the upstairs. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Bath. It's gorgeous. I mean, walk-in closet, massive walk-in closet.
Kids' rooms.
Floor laundry. Yeah, you just keep going. So now we're in the basement. So you got your own gym, another fireplace, sauna, wet and dry it looks like. It's unbelievable. Pool.
Little jacuzzi, hot tub thing,
Yep.
indoor.
I love all that woodwork too. That's awesome.
Movie theater.
Theater room. Like, what are we missing? If only we had something else.
We're getting there.
Oh, your
Private.
own pond, lake.
Yeah, that's one checkbox for me. Big yard.
I love that drive up too. Look at that.
Look at this.
Awesome. That is awesome. Oh, what?
What's this? Separate house.
Another house. Oh, what is this?
Whole greenery. Whole big plot for.
It's already like for cropping out.
Mm-hmm. Big
old
pole barn.
This is all on your property. Oh, and what is this dingy looking thing?
It's a bunker. It's a big bunker.
Shut your mouth.
All the crazy stuff going on in the world.
What?
Indoor.
Hydroponics?
Yep. With the lights already installed. All the crazy stuff going on in the world.
Thing for like a fire hose. See that?
Yep.
Put out fires or whatever.
Yeah.
That's for a bomb. Nuclear bomb blast.
All the crazy stuff going on in the world.
Hot demand, hot water heaters. Bunk beds.
What else could you need in this house?
Nothing. And they even have, and they did, again, shout out Mary. Great job to market. She has a awesome virtual tour you guys can check out. This house is amazing.
Yeah. I'd buy it right now if I could.
100%. And there's not a lot like these. I mean, obviously. And it's just funny. I found this so like, we've been on, I don't know, a little kick lately of like, just what if something crazy happened, like AT&T and all that stuff went down, and there, tinfoil hats came out to party, and and who knows what really happened. I think AT&T said it was not a cyber attack. Some others are saying otherwise.
I'm in that camp.
But things like this happen, and it's just like routine. It just doesn't hurt to plan and think, right? Not to get into all that depth, but awesome property.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to have that listing. Well, that house, frankly.
Mm-hmm. It's on a massive discount.
Yeah.
Massive discount.
It is.
Really, that should be worth 12.5.
100%. Yeah. If you can swing that, that's a steal.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, that's really all we had planned today, you guys. It's going to be, like I said, it's going to be short, but this is going to be ever evolving. We were just kind of brainstorming the other day and made up a big list of different topics and stuff we can talk about. Because at the end of the day, we just don't want this to be stale and like just talking about interest rates constantly. It's like, okay, we get like, and they're important. Don't get me wrong. That's why we talk about it. But there's more to discuss, and frankly, more that we just want to share our personalities a little bit more outside of just this, because we're more than this. This is a lot of what we do on the daily and our jobs, but we like other stuff.
This is one piece of our pie.
Mm-hmm.
This is, I mean, our day-to-day lives. We're into a lot of other stuff, a lot of other businesses, stuff we can't talk about right now. Personality-wise, I mean, prepping, all that type of stuff. That's something I've been into for a long time. Have a decent amount of, supplies and things like that. So that property is like right up my alley. We've been looking for land for a while of, kind of doing something similar to that, not to that scale at this point in time, but long-term plans. I mean, we have a lot of personality to show. So that's kind of our plan going forward. Show a little bit more about us rather than just.
Yeah, just make it more fun, I guess, because we, and now we're just going to ramble, but, we have another podcast that is in the vault, so to speak. It's in the bunker, because we're just not ready. And we still do it because it helps us practice for something like this, but it's more, it's just not business oriented. So we'll get there.
Yeah, it's a little different. It's a little controversial. I'll kind of say we're talking about politics, the economy, and lifestyle, and just kind of opinions, and
more of a personality.
Yeah, so that's something eventually we'll
But
drop the vault.
yeah, I'm sure you guys can see, like, we try and highlight little things that we're into. Like we both got books up here of some of our favorites. We're both really into music.
My 1911's not here today. It's at home in my range bag.
But yeah, Mav obviously is a Second Amendment nut, which I am too. Yeah. We're pro-America. Mm-hmm. We even took my wife, with Mav's help, to the range this past weekend for her first time.
Yep.
And kind of
taught her. What was cool, taught her how to shoot first off before we took her there, and because it's a lot of overwhelming stuff, right? It's a whole new world. I gave her a whole history lesson with all of the firearms I had, which was interesting because it was actually an evolution. You could see the evolution from each gun, right? Of each iteration of type of firearm. And she was like, can you teach me like that way, like historical from the beginning till now? I was like, yeah. So I sat down with her, explained it all and the mechanics of it. And she was like, this is cool. Like, in addition to Second Amendment things and, protecting yourself and all that, like, this is just a cool piece of machinery. I'm like, yeah. So that was super interesting. And then taking her and obviously teaching her how to shoot and then just kind of letting her.
It was cool to see those wheels kind of turn of like, because she never did not like dislike guns. But if you don't know, you don't know, and it was just good to go over like simple gun safety tips and how the machine really works. And at the end of the day, it's a tool like anything. You need a hammer to hit a nail. You need a gun to shoot a bullet. It's same. There's ways to be safe.
And what I loved is after kind of teaching her everything about how it works and safety, and she's like, it's very easy to be safe with it. And I was like, and that's what I've been preaching from the rooftops for years now. It's like, you have to deliberately want to do something bad. Or lazy. That was the other thing, is either you're lazy or you really want to do something bad. Because that's the thing is like, I have X amount of guns. Won't say exactly how many here, but I have XX double digits amount of guns, and I've never had an accident.
Nope.
Had them for years.
Don't plan to.
Yeah.
But you bring up, so I'll just say it. We went to Williams in Davison. Shout out Williams. Family owned. And, but it was cool because, like you said, you started at the basics. Just bolt action.
Bolt action 22, yeah.
And then went down the gamut. And then as we're leaving, a guy pulls out a musket. Mm-hmm. I guess a Revolutionary War musket. So it was cool and it kept misfiring. But it was just cool to see that and have her, see that too.
Yep, it's like we've got a couple ARs and an AK and this and that, and everybody's kind of doing their thing. And then it's like we're walking, and it's like literally this guy just stuffing the cotton and the lead ball down, and pouring gunpowder in, and then misfire. It was just kind of funny.
But yeah, so it's gonna again continually get a little bit better. That's how everything goes, right? We just learn and grow. But yeah, appreciate you guys being a part of the journey with us, and we'll see you again next week.
Peace.